Wiltonii juniper. Here you will see one of my favorites, bonsai, in the garden. This juniper is very old, and the trunk of this shrub is the center of attraction for most visitors to my garden. This tree took 2 awards this year at a recent show. This particular type of juniper makes a very good ground cover in almost any garden and can also be very well trained with time and patience into a stunning bonsai, as you can see from the picture here. The juniper here is very old and is named after a nursery that founded the variety back in the year 1914 in Connecticut. It is oftentimes more commonly called blue rug and will take full sun in most types of soils in your garden if planted as ground cover. But of course, if you are going to train one into bonsai like the shrub here has been trained, then you will want fast-draining soil and keep it well watered but not totally wet either. Typically, in very hot weather, I will water my bonsai twice a day and mist in between. This means on days above 80 degrees for my garden, and yes, it does take some time, but anything worth doing is worth doing right, or just do not bother at all if you do not wish to spend the time to take care of your plants. Like most junipers, it will do its best in full sun, however, it will also tolerate shaded areas with part sun in the garden. This is not a juniper but rather a very large specimen of ficus. They are in the fig family of trees, and this one is very old. Pests are possibly scale, and other than that, pretty much none are known, and if any at all, then I personally would use my favorite bug spray to get rid of them. There was not much pruning on this particular plant once it was well established. These are some pests that can chew on leaves and stems, and they can indeed harm and disfigure your bonsai. So be vigilant. I do thin my tree out a little later in the year, around June, in my area. As with most all junipers, they tend to be slow growers anyway, so not really a whole lot of pruning, at least as a bonsai, that is, but left in the garden as a shrub, then you will need to contain it or it will overrun an area quick. I use my own personal soil mix, and you can read about my recommended mix in yet another article on this site. This tree will be worked down into a much smaller pot this next season, but for now, it is what it is and will remain in this pot. It was too late this season to work into a smaller pot, so I left it alone for this year. I simply had other trees in my collection that needed my attention, and there were just too many that I had to work on, so this one got skipped this year. This is not the juniper but yet another tree in the garden. It does happen sometimes, not deliberately, of course, but sometimes it just cannot be worked out like you would want because, with a large collection like I have, you simply run out of time. Any tree like this should never be heavily worked past spring, as it just gets too hot for any repotting to take place. Most junipers respond well to pruning or repotting in the month of June. These junipers are crawlers and creepers if left unattended for long periods, and they are truly used in most gardens as ground cover. They have a kind of blue cast in the winter months, and they also grow berries, which can add to the interest of the plant. Here are many that have evolved past the ground cover stage, but nevertheless, they are junipers. You would spend many years getting a trunk like the one here, which, by the way, has been lime sulfurized to create the sherry look and, in fact, even perceives more age than the tree truly is. So if you plan to buy one, then just be patient and take your time to achieve the look you want, not necessarily what you see here either, it can be whatever you like. It could very well be a full cascade, even a half cascade, windswept, or many other styles, maybe even upright. Just decide on a style and then go for it. This particular shrub, now trained to look like a tree, was originally growing straight up, and then we had a very large amount of snow one year, and it bent the main branch back down and in almost a reverse position, making the main branch twist backwards and up over the plant, giving the trunk an even more interesting look and style. You can find this juniper in most nurseries, and I hope you find one and start your own as bonsai, as they do make a special one for sure. Try to start with at least a 1-gallon size and work it from there. This is a typical branch on a blue rug juniper. Thanks for reading. By Harold Yearout, Copyright 2024. All rights reserved. For more information, feel free to contact me, h.yearout@gmail.com.